Welcome back, everybody. We're travel fanatics, and today we're going to talk about our trip to Cancun. So we just got back, and we had a good time, right?
Yeah.
It was good. But we learned a bunch of stuff on this trip that we think would be valuable to you before you jump off and take your own trip. So we're going to step through these things that can maybe make or break your vacation, just depending on the decisions that you make. And I think maybe to get started, the most important decision that you need to make before you leave is the kind of hotel that you stay in, right? So the choice really is inclusive or non-inclusive, kind of like a regular hotel. And where did we stay at?
Iberostar.
That's right. So the Iberostar Selección Cancun,
Yeah.
which is an all-inclusive. Now, the thing that you need to know about the two different kinds of hotels is all-inclusive means you get all your food, all your drinks, alcohol, all that kind of stuff is included, whereas at a regular hotel, that's not included. But the big ticket item is that you have to wear this wristband, and only people that have paid can come into the hotel. So if you make a friend or if you want to go visit other people and you're all not staying at the same all-inclusive hotel, well, it can be a problem. So if you're a partier and you want to hop around, maybe it's not the right way to go. But if you want to have that experience where you're just at the hotel and everything's there that you need, then it might be the right choice for you. So first thing, choose between inclusive or non-inclusive.
And now let's talk about how to get to Cancun.
Yeah, so this is, you'll fly on a plane, right? But one thing that will make your trip a lot easier is if you do your immigration forms ahead of time. So there's a webpage that you can go to fill out the documentation. There'll be a link down below and you can print these out. Otherwise, you're going to be filling these out at the airport when you arrive because they don't give the forms to you on the airplane anymore. I don't know why, and it seems like it would be a way better way to do things, but they don't. So make sure that you fill out your immigration forms before you go.
The other thing, I'm really worried about how to get from the airport to the hotel. Yeah.
Right. So we talked a lot about how do we make that transfer, right? How do you do the airport to hotel transfer? And when you get off of the airplane, there are going to be a lot of people there that want to sell you really overpriced taxis. So what we did was we pre-booked both the transfer to the hotel and then the hotel back using a company called USA Transfers, I think it was. And it was really nice. They come and they pick you up in a van. You can do this as your own group, or you can get into like a shared group van. We did our own since it was four of us and our two kids. And we had a great driver and it was super smooth. We just got off the airplane, kind of followed the crowd, looked for the guys holding up the sign. They were wearing baseball caps, said, hey, we're here, right? And then we went. If you don't do that, it might be a hassle for you to make that commute. So definitely book this before you jump on the plane.
And don't forget to bring your small bills too.
Oh yeah, so let's talk a little bit about money. I think this is a good segue. So one of the other questions, and this is something that you can prepare before you go, is what kind of cash should you use in Cancun? Now, if you use pesos, you can save a little bit of money, but you need to convert US dollars into pesos or whatever your currency of origination is. While you're there, though, if you stay in the hotel area, the Zona Hotelleria, I don't know, something like that, everybody will take dollars. So you can go to the clubs if you're into that kind of thing, and you can buy drinks with dollars. You can jump on the bus even and use dollars. You can pay your tips in dollars. But if you want to save a little bit of money, convert everything to pesos and then pay with those. So talking about the bus, right? So one thing that you want to know is to get around, you can take taxis. There's not really Uber. There's some other company, that Bolt or something like that I wasn't really interested in trying out, but the buses are pretty easy to use and they stop at pretty much every hotel on the strip. Now you can pay with dollars, and I think it's $1 per person.
Yeah.
Now,
and then 12 peso.
12 pesos per person. Now, $1 is 20 pesos about.
It's like almost double price.
Yeah, so it's a lot of extra money. So first off, I highly recommend using the bus, especially if you want to get downtown, something like that, because it's inexpensive and I think it runs all day long. Now, if you watch our Iberostar review video, I talk a little bit about the buses and the bus routes in there, so you can check that out. But from a cost point of view, don't be shy to use the buses. And if you have pesos, it's half price. So what we did, there were four of us. So we would use a 50 peso bill for the four. It's only 48 pesos, but 2 pesos, like a penny or something, right? And we'd let the bus driver keep that. So we just hop on, give him a 50, and off we go wherever we wanted to go. So pretty cool.
So one thing we need to be careful about the bus too. When you get the seat, you need to sit fast, remember?
Oh, yeah. So when you jump on the bus, this isn't like a bus in the U.S. where they're like, okay, everybody take a bit. No, man, as soon as you're on, the door's closing, you've paid, they're going. So, they're not really concerned about your safety, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, when it's time to go, it's time to go. So when you get on, sit down immediately.
Yep.
Now, one of the reasons that we went to Cancun was to check out the beach, and I guess it was okay. It wasn't my favorite beach in the world. I actually think the Florida beaches are nicer, but the water is beautiful, but there's a lot of seaweed and a lot of rocks, right?
And too strong.
Oh yeah, the current, the waves are really, really rough. So, just a couple of things to think about when you're going to the beach. Look at pictures of your hotel and where it is on the seaside. Now you can walk up and down to different areas, but there are several hotels where it's just like rocks. There's not even really sand there. It's just like rocks into the water. And obviously that's not a kind of a good place to go hang out and try and swim. At our hotel at the Iberostar, there were some rocks, but it was mostly sand. So I'd say make sure you check that out. Take foot protection, like water shoes.
Yeah. Water shoes.
Yeah, and those are the little ones that you can just wear in and out of the water, and they're real lightweight. I think that's important. And then bring your sunscreen too, because that stuff's super expensive at the hotels, at least. And you don't want to wake up and be like, I'm going to the beach. Oh, I don't have my sunscreen. Let me go to the grocery store to get some so you have to get on the bus. No, just bring some from wherever you're from. Get the brands that you like so that you're comfortable and familiar with that kind of stuff, and just have it on hand. Another thing that's important to get done before you go, at least I think it is, are tours, right? And so we'll tell you a little bit about our tour experience. So, we were just there for 5 days, something like that.
Yeah.
And we were going to do 2 tours. We were going to go see Chichen Itza, chicken pizza.
Chicken pizza.
Chicken pizza. And we were going to go on a snorkeling tour.
Yep.
Right? So the snorkeling tour turned out to be interesting. So I don't know exactly why, but the tour, when we booked it online, was listed just as snorkeling tour with a trip to Isla Mujeres, so you can have lunch, and it included food and drink and that kind of stuff. And so I was thinking, okay, wholesome, family-oriented trip, right? So we get to this place to get on the boat. And it was kind of a pain to find, so just be careful, that kind of stuff. But we got there, and there's like nobody there. There's nobody there, and it's just us. And we're like, man, what's going on? And so it's time to get on the boat.
We just see another people group, but
a big bus showed up.
Yeah.
And then what got off of this bus? Like 40 20-somethings. And 20-somethings are fine, but it appears that they took our snorkeling tour and mashed it up with a booze cruise.
Gosh, it's not for families.
No, it's not for families at all. Now, my 13-year-old, I don't think he had seen that many thong bikini 22-year-old women in his whole life. And man, I feel for him because I think he's struggling. So, oh, Dad, I can just see him. He's like, I'm trying to look but not look, and he didn't know how to handle it. So as far as tours go, just make sure you kind of understand exactly what's going on. And if you can ask that kind of question, is it family oriented? Is it going to be a booze cruise? That kind of thing. It'd be good to find it out. Now, the other tour that we're going to do was the Chichen Itza tour. And we ended up not going because we scheduled it the day after the booze cruise snorkeling tour, and we were pretty wiped out. So the snorkeling tour, it was all day long, and we were out on the water, and it kind of made us not feel so good, a little seasick, that kind of stuff. So the next day, we were supposed to be up by 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock or something like that in the morning to be on this bus for like 10 hours. And we just decided to call it off. So be thoughtful about what you want to do, because it's supposed to be relaxing, and that ended up being something that wasn't going to be very relaxing for us. One thing that I recommend that everybody do is get out of the hotel area and go look around. But let me caution you a little bit, because we went to a place called Mercado
28?
Mercado 28, so Market 28. And you know, a lot of people said, oh, this is gonna be cool, and you can see all this small business. We got to this place, so we took the bus and we walked a little bit and got there. And it's this big city block of shops, but it's like the crappiest little junkiest stuff, and the people there were, I don't know what the right word is, desperate for business, because, you know, things have been down for the last couple of years, and we were the only people there. And it was not very pleasant. You know, people continuously calling at you, people continuously telling you, oh, don't go that way, that's the wrong way, there's nothing down there, you gotta come this way, this is the only way. And, you know, they're like, oh, hey friend, how are you? And, oh, come inside. It was high pressure, 100%. And we ended up walking around looking at it, but I mean, there was literally nobody else there. So maybe this is just a function of, you know, the season, or things that are going on, or, you know, the state of tourism right now, but it absolutely was not the right place to go. Now, there's another market called Mercado 23 that's supposed to be more of like a food market, vegetables and stuff like that people say might be better. We didn't make it over there because after this one we were like, okay, we're done with this. we walked around a little bit. We saw the Walmart, yay! And then we headed back to the hotel. The kids were like, Dad, we just want to go to the beach and we want to go hang out at the pool. And I'm like, I get it. So we went back, and just a couple of grains of salt on that one. Be careful with Mercado 28 or other areas that could be very tourist trappish.
But if you want a shopping, I think they have a better place, right? It's nicer one. Do you remember?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So it's on the strip on the north side. There's a bunch of shopping areas that are high-end, I guess you'd say. They're more Americanized, mallish kind of experiences. So if you want to shop and you have that shopping itch that you need to scratch, that might be better if you're not looking for that super high pressure, buy my t-shirt and my statue of something, sombrero kind of stuff. So yeah, that's all available, and it's just a short bus ride away from any of the hotels. When you arrive at your hotel, at least this is how it worked at ours, and I've heard that it works like this in others as well, you're gonna get the pressure to attend a timeshare sales pitch. So there was a guy who, you know, as soon as we were checking in, he's like, oh, come sit down, let me tell you about this stuff. And hey, you know, you want to hear about this timeshare that we got? And, you know, we can sit down and we'll give you a free breakfast and blah, blah, blah. Don't do it. Just don't do it. We didn't do it. And we've heard stories of people that have done it, and it's always a nightmare. And you're not there for a timeshare, you're there for vacation. So my suggestion is check in, get to your room as quickly as you can, avoid that stuff, because they didn't mess with us again after check-in for that kind of thing. So I think they really are just targeting the folks that are getting in there at the very beginning, because once you've been there, there's no way you're going to go to this timeshare meeting, because you're going to go out and have a drink at the pool or go to the beach or whatever. So they try and get you first, but just say no. Another thing to be aware of is, at a lot of these hotels, if you want to eat at the restaurants, they have special restaurants, you have to make reservations, and they fill up pretty quickly. So the second thing that we did after we arrived at the hotel, the first was to check in. Yeah. The second one was to make all of our reservations at the restaurants for the rest of the week. Now, one thing that I found interesting was that if you make a reservation and then you don't show up and you don't cancel, is they charge you. So you have to be careful with that too, right? So remember, you're on the hook. Once you say you're coming, if you don't show up, they're gonna charge you. Yeah, so make sure that you get those reservations in as soon as possible, because you don't wanna wait till the very end or the day of and then try and go to the full
fast.
Yeah, you're like, I wanna go to the hibachi place or whatever, but then they're like, no. So do it soon, do it at the very beginning.
Now let's talk about tipping.
Oh, tipping, yeah. So I think the whole economy at these hotels runs on tipping. So we tipped our room cleaners every day. We would tip when we had drinks, when we had several drinks, we would tip, once. We wouldn't tip per drink, but we would tip for like each time we went to the pool, had a couple of drinks, we'd drop a small tip for them. And then we also tipped at the sit-down restaurants, but we did not tip at the buffet.
No, because we don't know who's gonna tip.
Yeah. So at the buffet, we just came in, sat down, ate, and left. But when we went to any of the sit-down restaurants, we would tip. We tipped for drinks, and then we tipped every day for our room cleaning. The last thing that we want to tell you about is how congested the airport can be. So we talked to a lot of people about when to travel, when not to travel, and there have been some horror stories around how full the Cancun airport gets. And I talked to our transfer driver, and he said that it's an absolute nightmare on the weekends. It's super, super busy, and while levels had been down before, they're kind of getting back to normal, and you can stand in line for hours to enter or exit the country on the weekends. We didn't travel on the weekends, and our lines were fast.
Yeah,
I mean, there was
good luck.
Yeah, it was really good luck. There was nobody there. So if you can arrive and depart on any day that's not maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, think about trying to do that. If you got to do what you got to do, then go for it. But I think you'll have a much better experience in the airport if you don't travel on those 3 days. All right, so that was our trip to Cancun, and the top however many tips that was for having a better vacation than you might have had otherwise. Hopefully it's helpful. Remember, please like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all those things, and we'll see you guys in the next Travel Fanatics video.